Okay, so I totally forgot that. Well, I didn't forget anything. Well, I did, but yeah, I'll get back to that. I remembered that I don't think I actually made an introduction to myself in these videos, and the reason I'm a bit confused right now is because I'm also type of person who recorded the whole video, 12 minutes. I'm not sure it's going to be that long this time. And then when I looked at it, there was no sound. I simply forgot to press the button on my mic, so there was no sound on it. I'm a bit tired. That's really frustrating, but now I'm gonna give you an even better version of the video. So let's do that instead. So yeah, what I wanted to do was to tell you a little bit about my background and who I am and why I'm making the podcast and daily journal and what I've been doing before. So to start off, I live in the suburb of Copenhagen City in Denmark. I moved here about 11 years ago, and I had a very safe upbringing in a small town in other part of Denmark. And yeah, I'm never going back there. Really, like moving back. At least I'm going back this weekend actually, but I'm never gonna be moving back. I love living in the city, and even though we're about 5-6 kilometers from the center of the city, it's really nice. You can bike anywhere, and we have a nice garden and everything. I just moved in with my boyfriend, or we moved in together in this house, which is new for both of us, in April. So it's really new, which also gives some challenges, and it's exciting and yeah, interesting. But it's good. I really like it. I'm not really a handy kind of person, but we'll figure everything out. If we can't do it ourselves, we'll figure out how to do stuff. So yeah, so I am 35 years old. My name is Diana, and it's written out Diana, but in Danish it's pronounced Diana. So I live with my boyfriend, as I just told you, and I have a master's degree in business from Copenhagen Business School, and the same for my bachelor's degree is also in business and service from Copenhagen Business School. During my bachelor's degree, I had a semester abroad, and that was in Hawaii. So I had 4 months in Hawaii where I studied tourism and service, which was really interesting. And if you want to study that, Hawaii is the perfect place. And I figured out I'm not going to be working in that business. Well, you can call this service, of course, in some way, but yeah, the whole like hotel business, tourist thing, it's not really me. But at least I got 4 months in Hawaii, right? I'm also the kind of girl who has tattoos. So, like, I can show you here is the Hawaiian Islands, which I got when I was on exchange there. I have about 6, almost seven, because I'm getting one this month. Yeah, I like my tattoos. They're very personal, and they always have some kind of meaning, which I like. After I finished my abroad in Hawaii, I traveled around the US to the big cities for about 5 weeks before going home. And I think that's really interesting because one thing is to see a different country and a different culture, but also seeing the difference between the big cities in the United States. It would probably have been even more different if I'd chosen to visit some like smaller places, but I was traveling alone, and I kind of wanted to see these places, and so I'm definitely going to the US again at some point, maybe next year already, to podcast some podcast event. But let's see. see what else. Yeah, so I finished my degree in 2014, and then I started looking for a job, which I figured out I was not gonna be working within the industry that I took my degree in. So I had a really hard time finding a job, which made me, led me to start a podcast, which was about searching for a job. And I did that in Danish, of course, which in the end actually led me to a job. So that's actually really good. So I now use my daytime at the biggest CV and job database in Denmark, online job database in Denmark, where I work as a supervisor for our match team, which I'm really, really happy about. Other than making my podcast, which I don't anymore, but it's still there and people listen to it, it's nice. And I just talked to someone about it today. So that's really good to know that what you've done is actually being used. Other than the podcast, I also made a book with my friend. It's also in Danish, but it's called My Deep Thoughts. And spoiler alert, it has something to do with the new podcast that I'm making and this journal, of course. This is this is like 60 questions that you can journal and then answer in the journal, and then there's these pictures that you can draw or color in or whatever you want to do. This question, for example, is when I'm not thankful for life. So it is these deep questions that made for you to actually think about stuff and then maybe say, okay, so I'm not happy right now. Okay, why not? And what can I do about it? So it's these kind of things that we intended to do with the book. Yeah, so that led me to the podcast, which also led me to this journal. Oh, and this is my alarm saying that I need to remember to actually do my journal. If I don't have this kind of reminder, I'm just gonna forget about it, and then all of a sudden I haven't been journaling for 3 days, and that wasn't the point. The point was to journal every day. So that's what I'm doing. So let's see. Other than doing the book and the podcast, I also did some networking events for women entrepreneurs in Denmark. So I think I did 8 events, like small things where people came and spoke. I had 3 speakers on every time, and then they told about something that was useful for people starting their company, just small companies. Yeah, that was also really interesting, and I learned a lot. Let's see, what more did I do? On the personal side, I have 3 siblings. I have 2 sisters and a brother. One sister lives here in Copenhagen, or Greater Copenhagen, as me. She lives with her husband, and the other 2 still lives in Jutland. And then I have 6 nieces and nephews who all live over there as well. If you saw one of my earlier videos, you also know that I have been running earlier, well, not earlier, but before, and fundraising for the MS Foundation in Denmark. I've done this twice, with 3 years between, but the idea is good enough, right? So my goal is to do that again next year, and collect even more money, or fundraise even more money for the foundation. And then again, like the personal side of things, if I had to describe myself with 3 words, which is such a nice idea, right? And I'm really sorry, I'm a bit tired, but I would say helpful. So I love helping people. Like the idea with the podcast is actually to help people and to give some ideas to that you're not alone, and that the thoughts you're having about certain kind of things in life other people might have as well. So I'm interviewing normal people like you and me. So if you want to be interviewed, please let me know. I'll be happy to. And then also there will be some deep dive things where we go into some more topics that can be helpful in getting you somewhere else than where you are today. So that's kind of the idea. The first one of those is going to be on mindset. So I'm looking very forward to releasing that one. Then the second one I would say is creative. I love creating things, and I'm doing, well, when I'm not moving and doing everything around the house, I'm sewing and doing beads and just small creative things. And then the last one would be getting ideas. So I'm constantly getting new ideas for new concepts and new things to do. And sometimes it's almost too much, and I kind of don't finish something before I start something new, which can be a bit frustrating. That is also one of the reasons I have my alarm on my phone, because otherwise I just forget and then I'm already on to something else. And now I get reminded every day that I need to have a plan and that I need to stay focused on what it is that I actually want to do. And yeah, so okay, so did I forget anything? I don't think I did. By the way, the tattoo thing full of ideas. Well, not. I have light bulbs here. Yeah. Um, they were made for me looking at them, not so much for showing them off on camera. So, but yeah, let me know which 3 words you would put on yourself. That would be amazing to hear. And then, of course, feel free, and I would really love it if you want to subscribe to the channel. The podcast will also come out and in some form. I'm planning on the YouTube, and use the little bell to get notified whenever there's something new. And other than that, always write me. If you want to participate in the podcast, you can write me at diana@deepthoughtspodcast.com. And Diana is Diana. And yeah, I think that's it for today. You have a really, really great day, and then see you soon.